First of all, I want to introduce my family, because without my family, I couldn't have done what I tried to do over a number of years. My wife, Jan. My little son, Brad. My sister, Cheryl, and her husband, Bob. And hopefully, the other person we have as a guest tonight, I'd like to introduce, we had a wonderful cook at the SA House the last 8 years. It was when we had a full-time cook, and she and her husband are here tonight. Marilyn and Dick Dutton, if you please stand. We, over the years, painted the A, or the eight years that she was with us. She brought thousands of sandwiches to the top of the A to feed everybody while we were painting the A. It's been a wonderful tour of duty, if you want to call it, because I'm an old soldier that talks about tours of duty, and it's something that I'll cherish the rest of my life. I look at this room and look at all the friends that I have in this room, old and young, and we now have a growing group of young men. Not very many right now, but we're going to do that and make a change, and turn the program around. In going forward, I just think we're positioned now to move forward with a concept that is, as far as we know, it's the only lodge in the country that's inside a commercial building, and it's something that I think that could be a model for the rest of the country. One of the things that Brinkman Partners, that our construction folks have been so wonderful with us in this get-together, are now taking some inquiries from other fraternities to see if they can't work over the same program that we just finished. If you haven't had an opportunity to come to the lodge, it'll be open tomorrow, before the tailgater, and then after the football game, and after we beat the hell out of University of Corral. Again, it's been interesting over the years to look, as I got involved at the local level here, and then Clark Houston, I followed Clark, who was a wonderful person to follow as one of the eminent supreme archons of the fraternity. He was so much younger than I am. I had to look up to him all the time, because I think he was only about 14 years old. He went through in 1985 and 87. So he was awful young looking, and I was one of the older ESAs by the time I got out of the military and through the chairs. But again, it's been a wonderful experience, not only there, but certainly the wonderful experience of again, I continue to look around this room tonight, and then I see everything that goes on when I saw the slideshow, and I wondered, did I really advise some of those guys? I'm not sure I did a real good job, if that's the case, okay? I did get a few phone calls over my life in the fraternity, and I only said, just be sure to call me before you actually go all the way into jail. And we did get some phone calls. It's interesting enough. Jen got one night early on in our career at Colorado Delta. One of the young guys said, no, I'm an SAE, She was going to hang up on him, and he was down at the county getting ready to get thrown. And so some interesting, very worthwhile experiences. Now what I'd like to do, rather than continue to talk about somebody like, I'm overwhelmed, to be honest with you. I kind of sit and wonder about, is it really true, and pinch myself, but I really go back to where, I guess when I started in Colorado Delta, as you know, my father was he was a good friend of Dan Beatty's, is going into the Sports Hall of Fame in a couple of weeks. And he didn't say much about whether I ought to be an SAE, but he said, I think you ought to go look at the boys. And that's about all he said. But I think I kind of took that that's where I was going to go. And that's where I ended up, and it was the greatest experience of my life. Before we turn it back to Al. Clark, if you would please come forward. Clark, as you know, is